Hi, my name is Robbie. I'm product manager with Augment, and this is a video for the acceptance of our application. So step one, a quick intro, I think I do these every time, but quick intro is we provide applications for MSPs in order to be able to manage their SaaS apps. So Augment is a platform to be able to do that. And the goal with the Google Workspace integration is so that they can be empowered to provide to do common actions against their customers. So things like password reset, account onboarding, offboarding, etc. This is the Augment app, so app.develop.augment.com. Typically, the production app is app.augment.com. And what we're going to do is first go to the integration section. I'll connect the Google Workspace, and we'll get the pop-up here. And so we'll run through the URL first, and you'll be able to, I think you want to be able to see the account ID and see the complete URL. So I'll just scroll through and you'll be able to pause at whichever section you want to review the URL at. So okay, so with that completed to the end, I'll go ahead and choose my test account here, and we'll walk through each of these. And my engineering team was nice enough to give me notes so that we're able to go through all of the, I think they're called roles or something similar, but so oh, the scopes. So we ask for, so view data transfers between your users. So the reason we use these scopes, and here's the list of scopes as provided by my engineering team. Here's the data transfer one. The reason we ask for this is that our application, we're able to allow technicians to delete users in the application. And when doing that, we want them to be able to take someone's data and transfer it to another account, be it a manager, coworker, etc. So again, same reason for this OAuth scope. Managing groups of subscriptions. So during the addition of a brand new user, they're able to choose groups and ensure that users assigned to their correct groups. Or we also have a feature that allows them to just simply manage a group for a user or in bulk for multiple users. We have the licenses information here. Um, so that we're able to get the licenses for a specific user. I know we also integrate with the API that gives us your total list of license SKUs, and then we're able to show a list of licenses for both when adding a brand new user, so which subscriptions should they get access to, such as the primary standard suite or Google Voice, etc. And or you can select a specific user that already exists and then either add or remove subscriptions as well. This does not allow us to, or within the product context, our goal is not to be able to switch the primary subscriptions from like standard to premium or anything like that. Again, view groups for the same reasons I've already explained. Group provisioning would all be for the same reasons here. Provisioning of users, again, to be able to create a brand new user based on demand from the business, and here as well. And then the send email feature is because for many of these actions, when they're completed, we'll send a confirmation. So either to the technician at the MSP themselves, or the product allows them to actually just send it off to a manager, coworker, etc. Again, you've got the list of scopes here. As a non-engineer, I don't know which relates to each exactly, but you're able to review them, and I think they all tie in directly to these guys here. I'll go ahead and click allow and walk you through the product. So my Google Workspace is connected. It can easily be disconnected at any time. I'll go over to the Engage section. So this is now my Google Workspace. It pulled in the list of users, shows me valuable information about these users, so which departments, if they're specified, which primary license they have, which groups are they part of, if their MFA is enabled or disabled, So I'll run through the actions that they can perform against these. So the add user action allows you to choose an existing employee from the list. So we populate our employee list based on the list of users discovered, but users can manually be inserted in the augment list, and you can then pick these from a list and create them as a user within your Google Workspace environment should you choose so, or you can just create a brand new employee from scratch, which will add them to both systems, the Google Workspace and augment. Let's fill out some test data. So we've created his personal information. We read the domain so that we're able to display the domains in a list that they have available. By default, this is can't be unselected, so we will reset the password. This is the password creation process at the same time. They can auto-generate that password, which will be a strong password, or they can manually create the password. And then they can choose to send that password either to themselves by default as the technician so that they can pass on the information about the account creation, etc., or they can send it directly to a coworker or a manager, etc. And this is the portion I talked about where we can add them to groups. So I have two groups in this environment, and out of the box I can actually add this user to the groups. Click next. So here we'll show the list of licenses that we've discovered as being available. Um, Due to the API not seeming to have a way to list subscriptions, the way we manage this is we read the entirety of the list of users and the licenses that are assigned to the users. We dedupe and we assume that those are the licenses available. So that does leave a caveat that if a subscription is enabled but no user is assigned to that license, it won't appear. But in general, we believe that if a subscription is enabled, at least one user will likely have that and will then know to display it in the list. And this is a small section to basically review and that all the settings are correct and go ahead and create that account. So we've just created that account. We show a quick confirmation of all things that were done. We can go ahead and close that. So now against users, we can do things like reset a password, which you just saw in functionality, but this just takes that exact little block and allows you to do it independently. I can go ahead and run this so you see the entirety of it, and the password was reset for that user, and then the notification is sent off. We can go ahead and suspend a user from being able to sign in. So the value here is, of course, if an account is compromised or a laptop stolen, etc., you can go and suspend that user so that no one signs in with it. And once the user is suspended, you can also unsuspend that user. So the user is currently now suspended. You can see the little icon here, and then I can go ahead and unsuspend that user. And now that little icon will disappear and the user can log back in. Again, sign out of all apps, again, works in the same similar motion of, account is compromised. So you want to typically, suspend that account, kick everyone out, reset the password, and then the user can regain access to his account. So I've just, signed everyone out of any session out of that account at the time. Managing groups. So over here, we'll be able to list all the existing groups for that user, and then they can be removed from them. So if they're, for reasons such as moving departments, etc., receiving new permissions or roles, they can be removed from there, and they can be added to other ones simultaneously as well. And we can also do this in bulk. So here's your confirmation dialog. But if we have, for example, these two accounts here have some common groups, what we'll do is, so we have a bulk menu here, and we'll be able to show the common groups here, and we can add them to groups where they will become common groups as well. So I can remove them both from here and add them to this other group as well. And we'll receive confirmation again for both sets of users and actions performed. Managing licenses, again, as we talked about, same limitations as on the add user, but in general, the idea is to be able to present our technician with all the subscriptions that are available, show which license is actively enabled for this user, and so that they can enable, disable as needed. And then the last one is removing a user, and I'll try and pick, yeah, this one should be fine. So we have a kind of a best practice flow here where what we'll do, and this is a best practice instilled to us by our technicians based on research. So we do the same thing for our current Microsoft integration that is already live in production. But the first thing we do is reset the password, suspend the user, sign the user out of the application. So this is useful for, even situations where the account removal is a bit more hasty, so someone's getting fired, something of the sort, and so we'll actually apply those immediately. So we're not just taking the information and moving next. It actually sent that and applied it, and now the technician can take his time and say, okay, did this person have files? Do we need to transfer them to someone? Who do we want to transfer them to? So I'll transfer them to Man Brown here, and I can transfer over the drive and docs, calendar, brand accounts, and data studio, and I could even include files that weren't shared with anyone. And this option down here actually allows the user to be removed from both Google Workspace and the Augment system. So if we don't check this, then he'll be removed from Google Workspace, but will remain as an employee in the Augment system as a reference. So this is again your confirmation. And we'll go ahead and run through and remove those users, or that user, I should say, with all the options that were selected, and you get your confirmations here as well. And then the one other information bit here is that our data is refreshed on a daily basis in order to reduce calls. So some things take effect immediately in our UI based on us knowing that we've sent the request and received the confirmation. We update our UI. If things are changed on the back end, we'll know based on a nightly routine that is run to try and reduce the amount of routines that we have to run against the service. That should be the entirety of our demo for today. Thank you very much.